Hey, what's good? It's your boy MC, host of the Vocal Minority Report, also host of the Negro News Minute. Hey, do me a favor, go to iTunes. I need to quit calling it iTunes. It's Apple Podcasts now. Google Apple Podcasts, find Apple Podcasts. It's on your phone if you got an iPhone or download it, iPad. Get there, go to the Vocal Minority Report, subscribe to the show. That's important. Leave a rating. I ask you to write a review. You don't even have to write a review. Just leave a rating. Just give it some stars and help us out. Really appreciate it. Again, I say it's the largest way, the biggest way you can help get us noticed. Every podcast, this podcast in the top 10, top 100 on the charts that they constantly ask for people to leave rating reviews. So I've got to do the same thing. Really appreciate it. If you want to go above and beyond that, you can go to thevocalminorityReport.com/donate. You can donate to the show. You can go to donorbox.org/The Vocal Minority Report and donate securely. You can help out the show. You can leave a one-time donation or a recurring monthly donation. There's certain prizes, rewards, gifts, whatever you want to call it. And we just want to help the show grow. I say we all the time. I use the royal we because I like to think of the show as this entity and me as the host. But it's really just me. So, but I appreciate that. I know you guys know that. Let's get to the news. Enjoy. From Elevate Digital, the Vocal Minority Report presents the Negro News Minute. Dateline, Big Sky, Montana. Would you believe that I've actually been to Montana 3 times in my life? I think it's 3, maybe 4. Bozeman, Missoula, and some other places. Anyway, though, so the story that I'm about to play now is strictly just because I wanted to play the audio. So here's the audio.
The CBO score, because you were waiting to make your decision about healthcare until you saw the bill and it just came out. And what
we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
I'm sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
If you'd like me to get the hot up here, I'd also like to call the police.
All right, that was Greg Gianforte, or Gianfort, the Republican candidate in Montana's special congressional election, who has now been charged with misdemeanor assault after he allegedly body slammed a reporter and broke his glasses on Wednesday night, the reporter for The Guardian. So I just wanted to play that. We can move on to the next story. There's also a 911 call audio, but I just thought that was really interesting. I just thought it was funny, actually. So here we go. On to the next story. Dateline, Hagerstown, Maryland. All right, we're going back to school. Got a school story 2 days in a row. An 18-year-old student with a 4.0 GPA and was president of the student council has been told by the principal at Heritage Academy, a Christian school, that after, quote, countless hours in prayer and discussion, his board's decision to bar the pregnant teen from walking at her graduation is holding her, quote, accountable for her immorality and is, quote, the best way to love her. Maddie Runkles, who's 18, told Breitbart News that while other students at Heritage Academy have broken some of the other rules of the pledge, they've never suffered a punishment as severe as hers. The school's principal, David Hobbs, released a statement regarding the situation of the teen, who discovered she was pregnant in January. He said, quote, Maddie is being disciplined not because she's pregnant, but because she was immoral. Sounds so judgy. That was part of Hobbs' statement that he was posted on the school's website, explaining that the students at the school signed a scripturally based pledge that states they will protect their bodies by, quote, abstaining from sexual immorality and from the use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs. It says Heritage is also pleased that she has chosen not to abort her son. However, her immorality is the original choice she made that began the situation. Runkles, who's at the center of this, said Hobbs initially decided he would tell the entire school that she had broken the rule about premarital sex. She was also stripped of her leadership positions and informed she would not be able to complete her senior year at school, but would finish her classes at home. That really doesn't sound too bad to me, but, I haven't been 18 trying to raise a baby either and being shunned at my church school, so. Runkles said she decided, however, that she wanted to publicly confess to the school herself about her pregnancy. She made her confession with her father at her side. She said, I decided I wanted to confess what I did and ask for forgiveness from my school, but the other kids who had broken other rules, even when they were caught, they still lied about what they had done. It just seems unfair. I tried to make it right, but was shot down. Subsequently, Runkle's parents and about 25 classmates and other parents appealed to Hobbs, the principal, asking that she be permitted to remain in school and graduate with her classmates. Ultimately, after several days of suspension, she was told she could return to school to complete her classes, but she would still be prohibited from graduating with her class. Boy, man. You just don't want to show the pregnant girl on stage. I guess like you don't want to show the black kids with their ethnic hair in yesterday's story in Boston. So, of course, Runkle's story has launched a debate about how pro-life Christian churches handle the situation of unplanned pregnancies among single women. The study posted in November of 2015 at CareNet found that more than 40% of women who had an abortion regularly attended church. I found that interesting. And then I also found this interesting. Vice President of Lifeway Research, Scott McConnell, said, the results suggest that a church culture is lacking grace. Among those women who have had an abortion, here's some stats for you. 2/3, 65%, say church members judge single women who are pregnant. I can see that. I've seen that actually in the church. A majority, 54%, thinks churches oversimplify decisions about pregnancy options. Fewer than half, 41%, believe churches are prepared to help with decisions about unwanted pregnancies. He said, quote, women are perceiving judgment from the church, and that's probably partly because there are clear teachings in the Bible, including about how and why we make judgments. However, if they don't start experiencing something different than what they've seen in the past, these numbers aren't going to change. Referring to those numbers I just read, and those are kind of sad, actually.
Jake, go ahead and bounce on me. Get up out of here. We got your back.
What?
Just like that.
Oh, no, you didn't. Wait a minute. No, you did. Hey, Jay! Hey! Jay! 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 Come back here! Jay! You disloyal, fool-ass, bitch-made punk. Jay! I need my money! Jay! Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this shit? Jay! You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. Shoe program, nigga. 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of day. Who the fuck you think you fucking with? I'm the police. I run shit here. You just live here. Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go and walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Dateline, Crescent, California. See, speaking of more audio that I just wanted to play. So, Pelican Bay State Prison officials are investigating an incident that sent 8 officers to the hospital with injuries. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said in a news release on Wednesday that a total of 8 California prison guards and 7 inmates were taken to hospitals after a fight between 2 inmates Wednesday quickly raged out of control into a riot that took live ammunition to stop. Officials say a fistfight started around 10:25 a.m. Staff tried to subdue the 2 inmates who were fighting, then a large group of inmates from various areas of the yard ran toward the incident. The officers were overwhelmed as the inmates started attacking them. Officers from 3 armed posts used lethal force to stop the attacks, firing a total of 19 .223 rounds and the Mini 14 rifle and 3 40mm direct impact rounds. The report from the Department of Corrections says staff used chemical agents and batons to subdue the inmates as well. However, they refused to stop fighting, so that's what led to the lethal force being used. 2 inmate-made weapons were recovered, however, it does not appear at this time that they were used in the attack. 5 of the 7 injured inmates suffered gunshot wounds, according to prison officials. One of the inmates was airlifted to a different hospital for a higher level of care. Terry Thornton, a spokeswoman for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, told the Associated Press, where we got most of the story from. The 3 other inmates were admitted to hospitals and 2 were discharged back to prison. They all had facial-like injuries, bumps, bruises, contusions, she also told the AP. She said, quote, it's a frightening incident. It's frightening to have inmates just swarm you, to overwhelm you, and attack you. Investigators don't know yet whether it was a planned attack on correctional officers or if it was gang-related, she said. Just for a little bit of context, in addition to the clip from Denzel, the King Kong speech, Pelican Bay State Prison is located in Del Norte County. It's made of 2 maximum security facilities, 2 security housing unit facilities, a minimum support facility, and a short-term restricted housing unit. The prison opened in 1989 and currently houses approximately 2,000 inmates and employs approximately 1,300 people. 97 inmates were isolated in the disciplinary housing unit after the assault. Dateline, the U.S.-Mexico border. I love this headline from NPR News. President Trump's big wall is now just 74 miles long in his budget plan. It's going to be huge. It's going to be tremendous. Going to be the best wall. 74 miles? Come on now. So maybe it's a matter of semantics, but what do you all consider long? I'm just curious. Texas alone shares more than 1,200 miles of border with Mexico. Trump has asked Congress for just $1.6 billion to start building 74 miles of barriers after making the need for a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border a central campaign theme, as we all know. If Congress approves the current request, 14 miles of old fencing in the San Diego sector would be replaced, and 60 miles of new structures would be built in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, the region that has the heaviest illegal traffic. With the 74 miles of new barriers and the 654 miles of existing border fence, more than 1/3 of the southwest border would be covered. Now, I've heard over and over again that literally boots on the ground is what's needed, both from Border Patrol agents and residents specifically in South Texas. They've made that very clear. Border Patrol officials have asserted that they're in favor of some new wall construction, so as long as it's part of a, quote, tiered approach that includes more agents, as I mentioned, and surveillance technology. Now, that whole surveillance technology is up for debate because I read that there's a congressman in Texas who's questioning the amount of dollars spent for the new high-tech equipment, saying that what they have there currently is sufficient. So we'll have to see how that goes, because part of Trump's new budget has included a significant amount towards technology in addition to more people and, of course, the wall. Now, the request for the money for the wall is far less than the $21.6 billion the Homeland Security Department had estimated the wall would cost. Still, Trump's request works out to $21.6 million a mile, or nearly $13,000 a yard for what's expected to be steel and concrete barrier. The White House has said that the wall will take years to build and that it plans to ask for additional construction financing or funding in later years. Still, the administration lowered its ambitions when skeptics in Congress questioned the cost and effectiveness of a barrier on the border. Some members of Congress not only oppose the wall, but say it would be imprudent to begin building while plans for the project are still incomplete. You think? Senator Claire McCaskill, a Missouri Democrat and who is the ranking minority member of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, said, quote, "It continues to be irresponsible to start a multi-billion-dollar construction project that has ignited growing concern from members of Congress without knowing what it costs and where it is actually needed." Another very good point. Senator John Cornyn, a Texas Republican, has been critical of the border wall plan, saying that in some areas, other security measures such as additional Border Patrol personnel would make more sense. Someone I know just said that. Oh, I'm kidding. I heard that somewhere else, obviously. So Cornyn said, "When I hear the president talk about the wall, I think he is speaking metaphorically." Oh, now you tell us that. Boy, SMH, man. The president's fiscal year 2018 budget, as I mentioned, includes $1 billion for new technology such as upgraded communications equipment along the border. Meanwhile, U.S. taxpayers would fit the bill to begin construction for the wall currently. Trump had declared on the campaign trail that he would make Mexico pay for the wall, but Mexico continues to adamantly refuse Trump's insistence that it would reimburse the U.S. Treasury for the cost of the wall. Ildefonso Guajardo, Mexico's economic secretary, told NPR last month that President Enrique Peña Nieto, quote, "has been loud and clear. There's no way Mexico will pay for the wall." And you guys should definitely check out my man, the former president Vicente Fox, because he was on an episode of Reveal, the great podcast hosted by Al Letson, and he was going hard. I know you've heard some of those comments, read his Twitter, but he was going hard, so you guys should check that out too. Dateline, West Brandywine Township, Pennsylvania. Sometimes I hear the word irony debated for its use, both proper and improper, but I do think this next story is ironic, so I'll let you all be the judge. 2 drug counselors were found dead at an addiction facility in southeastern Pennsylvania after overdosing on opioids. First responders were called Monday to Freedom Ridge Recovery Lodge in West Brandywine Township, a private group home and halfway house for struggling drug addicts, according to the district attorney's office. The 6 recovering addicts who live at Freedom Ridge Lodge found the 2 live-in counselors in separate rooms, unresponsive, authorities said. The counselors were found with used needles and small baggies for heroin near their bodies. The baggies found at the scene were stamped with Superman and Danger and skull and crossbone logos. Investigators said preliminary toxicology reports from deceased counselors tested positive for heroin and fentanyl. The concerned residents gave one of the counselors an injection of the opioid antidote, naloxone, before they called paramedics, but it didn't revive the counselor. Chester County District Attorney Tom Hogan said, quote, "If anybody is wondering how bad the opioid epidemic has become, this case is a frightening example. The staff members in charge of supervising recovering addicts succumbed to their own addiction and died of opioid overdoses. Opioids are a monster that is slowly consuming our population. Authorities haven't released the counselors' names as of yet." You know, this story reminds me that I've got to do an episode, get an expert here on addiction, pain management. I meant to do that after Prince's unfortunate, untimely death last year, but got distracted with a couple other things. But I need to do that because I think this is important. I think I call this story irony with a bit of a chuckle, but it is unfortunate. You know, you have your people like Prince and others, so really want to touch on that. But that's all we have today. That's the news. Week's over for us. We'll have an episode of Vocal Minority Report with Payne Lindsay, host of Up and Vanished, out this weekend. And we will holler at y'all for the Negro News Minute next week. Remember, go to iTunes, subscribe, leave a rating, review. Subscribe everywhere. You can listen anywhere you get your podcasts. Send folks a link. Tell somebody about it. We'll holler at you next episode, next week. Peace. I always screw up. The normal outro needs to play first. I always mess that up. Here's the outro. For Elevate Digital, the Vocal Minority Report, this has been the Negro News Minute. All power to the people. Peace.